Hare Krishna. So here's a very amusing question. Someone asks, what is God's full name? So here they state that everyone knows that Lord Krishna's full name is Krishna Vasudev Yadav. In the same way, what is Shreeji? What is Srimati Radharani's surname? So this question, particularly a person is asking because being based in a particular state in India, Maharashtra, where everyone has legally to put their name and then their father's name and then their family name. So they'll have Krishna, Vasudev, and then Yadav. Now, this is not equally same in all the states in India, and definitely it is not the same practice in all over different parts of the world. So I thought for this audio, let us talk a little about the history of names and surnames first, so that we can answer this question. If you look in the Itihasas, if you look in the Puranas, in the Vedas, you'll find many people not having any surname. Lord Ram was just called Ram, Arjuna was called just Arjun, Krishna was just called Krishna, like that. Now, of course, they had other names, like Rama was called as Dasharati, meaning the son of Rama. Arjun was known as Partha. Krishna was called as Vasudev. You have the Pandavas, they are called, sometimes they are called as Kurusheshtra, the best of the Kurus, so they are always, uh, there's no particular surname given to people in the Vedic age, but there were some names which were connected with their identities through family lines and so on and so forth. They would have gotras, they would have some, you know, linked to rishis or kings, some titles. So sometimes, like for example, the king of the king of Videha, he was called as Janaka. So then Vyasa was given a name because he was a compiler. Bhishma, because that was not his name, but that was what because he took a terrible vow. So like this, certain different names come about. Now we have to understand that what is a surname? The surname, a family name, whatever it may be called, a last name. This came about because when societies began to develop even more. So especially when there were more social interactions. In the previous ages, cultures were limited. If you knew one Rama or one Raja or one Ravi, it's very rare that you'll find 1,000 Ravis. So in one community, they'll have just a few guys. Smaller population was there. There was not much urbanization. There was not much written records or taxation or inheritance laws and so on and so forth, where they need to keep documents and count. So things were much simpler locally, and therefore one name and a certain context was sufficient enough to identify people. But surnames started gradually growing after the Chinese Empire started moving around the world, the Roman Empire moved around the world, Europe, and different places where there was taxation involved, land ownership involved, census, bureaucracy, administration, so on and so forth. So when all of this started to involve, then they had to keep proper records, laws and rules. So then they started, identifying which actually, if a person's name is Ravi, which Ravi is it? So then surnames started to come, and now surnames were uh, based on different things. For example, they could be an occupation. So if a person is a mistri, then you'll have something mistri. That means he's a carpenter. So if a person is, let's say, a astrologer, then he'll have a Joshi. If a person is, a carpenter, this is the same all over the world. In America, you have people with the surname Smith because they were blacksmiths. You have people with the surname, for example, Richardson. That means he's the son of Richard. Richardson, Johnson. So he's the son of John. I think many people must have watched Thor recently. Some many years ago, the movie came out, Thor. So he was called as Odin's son or son of Odin. So like that, name started to develop just to identify people, and it started to become hereditary, where a father had the name and they would pass it on to the child, and like that, it got stuck. So sometimes it was jobs, cleaning, this and that. We see another example when the Parsis, the Persians, when they were, when they had to leave their land because they were subjugated and they came to India. So the Parsis adopted many different names like carpenter and merchant, and sometimes they get names like plumberwala or something. So they started picking up some different surnames, and this surname stuck. The surname stuck with their current culture. It is now, this is not their original Persian names, but it changed. So surname is something which can change. It gives us a legal identity. It gives us based on our current standing, who we are, what we are. So therefore, surnames are very much common, and it's a must now, especially when there's records, digital records, banking, inheritance, contracts, and so on and so forth. So, if to answer this question in short, Vasudev Yadav is not actually Krishna's name. There's no need to put it like Krishna. No one ever referred to Krishna as such. We are putting modern day context onto an ancient system. That is what we are trying to do. So then now we cannot fit Srimati Radharani's name in like that same way. Okay, she's just called Radharani, Vrishabhanu Nandini, and that was the context that she's happy and known by. So we should not try to fix modern day contexts or surnames and the system onto what was an ancient system. We have to understand that in the Vedic culture, identity was relational and dharmic. They would Identity of a person is relational based on their parents and like Partha, Vrishabhanu, Varshabhanu, and dharmic based on their who they are. But in modern culture, identity is bureaucratic. It is legal, and therefore we have all this second name, father's name. In some cultures, they actually keep their mother's maiden name as well, and so this is all just ways of identification. So basically, in short, to answer this, is that this is not right to say Krishna Vasudev Yadav. It is not right to even think that name is like that and that is his name fixed. Krishna's name is only Krishna because that itself is sufficient. If you want to put a surname, then you can add Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.